second wave or resurgence. So it's been quiet, and our stores, everything will be open up next Monday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
That's
like the restaurant, we can go to the patio, we can do the takeouts, but like indoor stores, we plan to open Monday 29.
wow. That will be good.
Yeah, that's what we called last stage, like new normal, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We opened in May first week, this place, our campus, partially.
Okay.
And the students are still away. They are virtually organizing meetings like this and
I
working
see.
on their own research. So
Oh, that's good.
we are not normal as far as students are concerned.
I see.
We are normal only for uh, research,
Oh, I see.
not for academics, not for students, no classes,
I
uh,
see.
virtual meetings, virtual exams. So yeah, in a way. So these students who are organizing are away. Some of them are here. However, they are individually managing the shows. But they are doing good work, inviting people like you.
Well, thank you. So there are, I think we have a PS day, and AJ and his team has been doing a fantastic job and try to not only in your parts of the world, it's like worldwide. So I've been into these meetings, the virtual meetings everywhere. Turkey, oops, I touched the screen. Yeah, the Turkey and Beijing and Sydney, and it's across all over the world. So I think that helps us. Right? Normally, if you're thinking the in-person meeting, now you just go with online. So I think that's great. We can uh, talk to lots of folks, lots of volunteers and students in the world.
For some students and others, it has become a boon. It has been helpful.
Right, exactly.
They could initiate and find you available.
Yes, and so Frank, who is our president, PS president, has been doing similar thing as well. You probably know AJ, and like I said, he has been trying to get all the folks within the PS management and tie with all the folks, and this is a great platform and great time to do it because we all kind of sitting around and not going outside. So we had so I think his record showed more than 400 events.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, within yeah. Uh, let's see, since probably April up to now.
Yes. So there has been some effect on your regular working somewhere.
Yeah, it's the same. We're all working from home right now.
Yeah. Okay. So working from home and also working virtually for events like this.
Oh yes, yeah, that's part of right, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
We just had the IEEE also had a Women in Engineering annual conference for 3 weeks. So this is their last week. So I thought it was well organized as well, like PES a day. So they had folks started first week talk about the money, Wall Street, women in Wall Street, and second week is about the leadership, and this is the third week they are showing the movies, like Hollywood movies about the women in engineering or in science. So that's it's pretty
So
good.
women in science and women in engineering.
Yeah, right. So this is the last week. So they have like a 3 week kind of event. It's annual event. Normally it's a 3 day face-to-face meeting, and this year is scheduled in San Diego. But now they moved that to virtual, and it expanded three weeks. So I can dial in and listen and to have a dialogue with them for last couple of weeks. So this is last week. So everybody is taking advantage of this right now.
Yeah, the social distancing has made an advantage for long distance meetings and virtually no distance issues when it is virtual or webinar or other platforms.
Exactly.
So 5 o'clock, Anupama, now?
Yes, sir. We can start with your kind permission.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so greetings to all our dear friends and our participants. So I welcome you to the third session of IEEE Virtual Symposia that is themed on Power and Energy Society and Technologies. So today we have with us Dr. Jessica. So before we start, I request our IEEE branch counselor, Dr. H.K. Sardana, for a formal welcome address. Yes, sir. Over to you.
Yes. Good evening to our Indian community and other Asians, and good morning to Dr. Jessica. Finally, we are with you, and I'm really surprised and mesmerized by the leadership positions she has been holding. And I hope that will help many of our scholars learn from her professional experience, as she is a position holder in IEEE, vice president, and other places in her industry career. Many positions to see. If you see her LinkedIn profile, I am looking at. So it's a lot of impressive positions she has been holding, both at industry as well as in the IEEE. So it's really a woman in power. I would say she's a woman in power. And I would not like to be in between the two women, Anupama on the other side. Another representative of chair women in engineering at our student branch. So let her welcome her formally, invite her to share the best. I saw her, sharing, looking at her keywords of profession and job and research career, that she is a performance person, grid, as her professional area. I hope power, energy, and other keywords that we will learn from her would bring a lot of leadership and positions that she has been holding in terms of how she has learned or applied engineering into her career. So a lot of learning for all of us, especially the women in our team. So over to Anupama to formally invite her for her best of sharings. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So I would like to introduce our speaker to all our participants on this platform, as well as all our YouTube viewers. So we have with us Dr. Jessica, and she is the president-elect of the IEEE Power and Energy Society. She is a visionary leader and architect and has spearheaded electric industry's reliability metrics and grid risk assessment. Currently, she is the Vice President of Grid Services at Grid X Partners. And before that, she was with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, Washington, D.C. And previously, she was the Director of Performance Analysis at North American Electric Reliability Corporation at Atlanta, Georgia. And under her leadership, a total of 18 industry-wide reliability indicators were established to determine the grid reliability, adequacy, and also associated risk with them. She is widely recognized as a pioneer and trusted world leader in this field. And before joining NERC, Dr. Jessica was the PJM at Westinghouse Electric, and she earned her bachelor degree in electrical engineering from Taiwan University and Technology, China, and Master of Science from Electric Power Research Institute, Beijing, China, and PhD from USA. So with this brief intro, I welcome you, ma'am, for your talk. Yes, over to you.
Thank you, Anupma, and thank you, Dr. Sadana, for having me. I apologize again. I missed the time on Saturday morning. It was completely my fault. And my calendar I shows Monday. I apologize for that. So thank you for gathering here and to kind of, I would say, celebrate or to rejoice and everything. So time by time, I would take a break and give a talk like that and kind of sharing. So like Dr. Sadhana mentioned earlier, the Women in Power group is one of the Women in Engineering group, affinity group within IEEE. So Women in Power, Women Engineering has been there all along. Women in Power was formed in 2012 actually in San Diego. So Power and Energy Society, PS, we have annual meeting in different places in North America. So in 2012, when I registered to attend the general meeting or annual conference, so the form says, would you like to volunteer for the Women in Power? So I was thinking, well, it sounds like that's a new group. I just wanted to join and see what I can do for the organization. So I just checked the box. So on the registration form, there's a box. I checked the box, and so it's been 8 years, right? Starting 2012. So 3 years later, and when they are looking for a PS secretary, it's an election position as well. And the Women in Power nominated me to get on the ballot and try to run for the PS president. That was in 2015. So at the end of 2015, I was elected. Probably some of you have received my emails and say, hey, please vote for me. That was in 2015. So I served as a PS secretary from 2016 to 2019 for 4 years, 2 terms, 4 years. Then the board asked me to be a candidate for the PS president last year, and I was on the ballot again. And so I just wanted to know there are lots of opportunities within IEEE, and you could be on the leadership side, you could do on the technical side. So you'll hear more on that, whichever you want, and try to we'll try to unlock your potential. Could be a scholar, professor, or research scientist, or just a regular engineer. We all need you in this great organization, and you'll find a lot of opportunities and like Anupma, right? You're leading and you're organizing events, and we need a lot of ladies, a lot of gentlemen like you try to help us to move in the organization, because this is the one of the best eras that we have, because we're doing this energy and power transformation. So with that, let me go to the next slides. So like you heard, I was my main research or my main area is on reliability. So in 2012, in New York City, along the New Jersey coast, which I live, we had a huge hurricane superstorm called Sandy. My house was without electricity for 7 days. And this is a picture on the left is New York City. So you see a truck with the backup generators. You can see every cables and try to feed into buildings, and a fellow is trying to use his bike and to charge his phone. You can see a lot of folks getting into this little pizza place and charge their phone. And in my little town, we lost electricity. Only place that has a backup generator is the public library and hospital. So so I went to library, tried to charge my phone like every day. So that's how we survived in 2012. So the question is, okay, so is like I said, my research area is for that type of events. Can we say the grid or the power system is still reliable? So that was kind of my, if it is, then why we don't have electricity during this type of storm? If it's not, then what can we do? So I've been doing that. So with that, I came up with the 18 metrics. So we use that to measure reliability, at least in North America. So here's on the right is a picture. Just kind of imagine that the world without electricity. So it's kind of dark, right? And well, I'm sure we could survive. We just kind of going back to about 130 years ago without electricity. But think about it, if we don't have internet without this kind of virtual connection, we're going back to 30 years ago. So that's a contrast between where we are, and if we have the electricity, we can help the hospitals, homes, essential workplaces. So it's essential a service to the I would say to the humanity, because the human get to this step, and we're able to provide the electricity to every household, to all the business, to the hospital. So that makes our civilization, makes our progress possible. Yes, internet is important, but compared with electricity, electricity is more fundamental. So now let's look at what's the impact because of the pandemic, and what's the impact to our industry, power and energy industry. I mean, it's you know that you hear the news every day. Like here in North America, we have record job loss, and in my area, the ag price soared, and the video games and surged. I was, if you look at the picture on the right, I was playing video games with my kids because we all kind of locked quarantined at home. So I had spent a lot of time playing with them. So yeah, there are some bright side of this pandemic. I spend more time with them, which is great. I never use this the Animal Crossing game. I might start liking it and build islands and having fun with it. And also you can see that the mental illness jumped here in North America. Bicycle rides picked. So you can see that the impact is just cross the broad area, including our daily life. For the energy side, for the environmental side, we had the biggest decline for the CO2 emissions. It's a great day, or it's a great month, a great event for the on the environmental side. The energy use, you probably heard the oil price drop below zero. Think about it, below zero. It's negative. It's like nobody wants oil first time in history. Here's a chart shows the West Texas oil hub, and price went down to zero. It means that nobody wants it. It's like our energy price goes to negative at midnight because nobody wants the electricity at midnight. We have so many units that carry constant load. It's just too much. It's oversupply. So those are the phenomena, the symptoms we have never seen before. And on the bright side, renewable, the wind and solar, actually they produced more than the normal share compared with the regular, because it's the policy. A lot of states here, they're trying to add more renewables, and plus it's free. The fuel is free. So through the economic dispatch, and we have lots of renewables compared with the data we had last year. So these are some of the I would say the kind of sad spots, but there are also bright trends as well. So every event give us the opportunity, uncertainty, and this is I just wanted to let you know that just look at events from both sides. We have the bright side and sad side, and see if we can take the opportunity and try to avoid some of the bad sides when it comes back again. And here's a change in energy demand worldwide. And if you look at some of the changes, the energy rate of change for the 1918 Spanish flu seems like has the biggest energy drop on the percentage wise, and also has the largest jump, the recover. So we are here at 2020. So compared with what we had in the past, this is not the worst event, because we had more experience, we're well prepared. We also have this virtual connection. So it all help us. So hopefully next time when it comes around and we have a better way, we know what to do and try to avoid these jumps. And I'm sure we'll get to that. But look at history, and we've seen that the energy drop. And for this time, for COVID-19, and if parts of the world has limited restriction, and you will see about 15% energy usage and energy demand drop. Partial lockdown, you will see 25%. Where I live is partial lockdown at like 25% drop. And if you have a completely lockdown, you have more. It's going to be 30% the energy demand loss. When I say energy demand, meaning everything, not just the power and energy, transportation, all the fuel type has been dropped. For the electricity, just for our industry, power and energy industry, we've seen a drop across the world as well. For US, it's about 5% drop. For EU, is about 8%. And for India, at least the data from the International Energy Agency says about 6% drop. So you see that across the board. And for 2020, we'll see a decline year as far as energy, as far as electricity demand goes. And here's a daily load curve. If you see how we use the electricity, and this is how kind of demand shows on a daily basis. This is one of the March days for last year. The regular March days, you see that we peak, like the load starts ramping at 6 a.m. and then and goes peak, and then it will have evening peak as well. So for the yellow one, you'll see this is during the pandemic. So the morning peak kind of delayed. It's like we were having a snow day. Everybody slept in for a couple of more hours. So the ramping slower, and also the peak occurred in later 2 hours. And then the peak would be lower because lots of commercials and industry that have been shut down. So the entire peak was lower. So this is kind of the pandemic day the load curve. Electricity wise, because our industry, our toughest day is during the storm, like the picture I showed earlier, and also the summer peak days, and also cold winter days, because pandemic occurred during the springtime, the March, April, May. So this is not our challenge days or challenge month for the power and energy industry. So there are some challenges, some risk involved, but those are not the regular challenge month that we have. So there was no reported reliability issues across the world. Everyone was able to provide electricity, no interruption to all the customers. So this is a great news we have to celebrate. Some of the risk we saw is the infection. So because you know that each control room within the power grid, we all have the operator, the humans inside room and watching the alarms and try to dispatch and try to see if there's any maintenance needs to be done, see if there's any congestions. So having healthy system operators are the key. So industry, that's the biggest challenge during this pandemic, to make sure that the operators stay healthy and they still come to their shift every day, and they do not spread the virus. So that has been a most challenge within our industry for the last few months. As far as the meeting loads, keep reliability, like I said, it's not an issue because this is not our challenge month. Our challenge months normally is July, August, December, January, and February. So you can see we have some technical issues and forecast is off a little bit, like I showed you, the load curve has been shifted, and we have high voltages because our feeders, our transmission lines. If you're taking the power system courses, you know, all the circuit, the three-phase circuit, you know that when the load is light, is reduced, you tend to have a high voltage. And for the hospital, the feeders that goes into hospitals, so those load tend to have a low voltage. That's what we observed during the pandemic. Other than that, we have had very good run for the system. And these are the things we can use, capacitors or other means to, or phase shifter to try to regulate the voltage. So it's not a big technical issue. Like I said, the risk is try to keep the virus out of the control room, and the technical issue is load forecast and high and low voltage. But those are the not very challenging ones. We have dealt with it on a daily basis. So how did here in North America, we actually, we know that around the world, all the utility, they come up with a similar or different approach and try to keep their operator healthy. One here in North America, in New York area, is that they actually rent the campground and also have these RVs, recreational vehicles and trailers. There they have a kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom, and there in that trailer, so they can just live there without going home and try to stay away from the general population. So this is kind of a clean quarantine place, and they come in after the shift. And for the meals, they have a special restaurant and special vehicle deliver to this particular site. So that's a lot of companies doing that and to keep their operator healthy and stay away from the virus. For the engineers that support these operators, they normally have they have an office. Everyone has an office. And then they converted their office into a kind of a sleeping place as well, so they don't go back to home and try to avoid the risk of getting the infection. So we're being creative and try to keep the operator healthy. So this is like the biggest change around the utility company. Try to keep the lights on and while keep everyone healthy, especially in control room. The rest of the folks, they all went back and working from home. So these are the folks that have to stay, like essential staff. They have to stay within the company and do the 24/7 monitors. That's how we did it in North America. I know that I heard in China, their control, the way they do it is a little different, but the same concept. They actually rented a hotel. So they have a special vehicle, and once the 12-hour shift is over, they have this special vehicle quarantined, and they take their system operators and to that particular hotel, and nobody can access that hotel. So it's like lockdown hotel. They go there, and they don't go back to their home. And then once they get rest and all that, and they come back to work again. So that's how they deal with it. So it, like I said, it's all different, but same idea is try to keep the operators healthy. That's the kind of immediate impact. What's the midterm impact? There are some, but not a lot, because it's a spring operation from March through May, and everyone is trying to prepare the summer period, which is right now it's kind of hot, and that's the challenge for industry. So if we don't have the healthy operators, it could impact our summer operations. That's why we trying to do everything we can to keep operators safe and healthy. The another midterm impact is the supply chain disruption. because we know that the whole supply chain is around the world. So if we don't have the, the pandemic, and if we don't have this kind of transportation back to normal, we may have the maintenance issues. We may not have enough replacement parts. We may not have, because summer is where we try to avoid all the maintenance. Springtime is where we do all the maintenance work and try to replace, try to clean. This everything done is in the springtime. So this could be an issue, and we've seen some of it, but not in a big scale. The long-term wise, there's a ton, and you heard that. You can look at it from a science and technology point of view. We'll see more robots. We'll see more AI applications, less touch and less contact. Culture-wise, there's just a lot. Telework more, business strategy, because the electricity demand is being reduced, the revenue for the company will be reduced. So what's if they do the investment? Well, that would be and go to the green energy, or less transmission, or more distributed energy resources. All that is part of the thinking. That's part of the business strategy. Politics, you see that here in North America, in US, and around the globe, right? We all talk about this particular pandemic, regulatory policy as well, and law and courts. Those will have a change because the pandemic, and like I said, looking at all these changes. If you like, say, if you're very good in language, in literature, and maybe politics, regulatory policy, business strategy is where you want to go. I used to work at the Energy Regulatory Commission, which is a federal government agency. We have about 300. I work with 300 lawyers, even though I'm an engineer, but they like to see the technical solutions, and then they put their minds together and try to come up with great policy and advance the technology, and also keep the rates low. So if you, it doesn't have to be a mathematician. You don't have it to be a scientist. You can be an economist. You can be a lawyer, and all can help this industry or other industries, because the change is deep, is wide, and like I said, it involves all these areas, not just engineering, not just the science and technology. So please, yeah, the opportunity is vast. As long as you have interest, try to discover your passion and find where you want to be, and go and try different things, and you'll find your place. You'll be happy, and including a volunteer, be a volunteer at the PES or IEEE or any other organization as well. So I think the talk we wanted to here is if you're students, what could, I mean, if you want to go to the graduate school, and what might be you see this topic, research a direction, or if you want to go find a job, what would be a kind of a good job that could last a long time, or could have a lots of challenges. So I want to spend a few minutes talk about the leading trends that we have observed through IEEE work and PES work and my work. And you know, you probably heard that Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, they invested billions dollars in energy startups. So that's why we have this kind of disruptible folks out there like Bill Gates said, well, forget your old utility guys, let's just do something new. One of the things that I like a lot is, you can see these are all startup companies here in North America, and we've seen more than hundreds each year on different ideas. And one of the ideas I like a lot is kite power systems. One in the middle, it says just use a kite. If you Google it, you'll see that they're trying to no turbines. They say forget the wind turbine. That's just bulky and looks ugly and takes a lot of space. let's try some kite-driven power stations. It was very cute, and then they have this kite and flowing, and there's the power station, and there's inverter connected on the ground. And like I say, it looks very fun, and I think it will be great to test it out, to work with the students. And like I said, these are great ideas. There's a hydrogen energy storage, and would be great for your lab, or for your research topic, for your graduate thesis. And people actually spending money, billions of dollars, try to look into that. And some of them is the not just the physical device themselves. Some of them, they're trying to do the software, like this virtual energy store is try to match demand and supply together and use a time use, so it's more on the software side. So there are tons of the ideas and opportunities out there. And these are the additional set ones that they came out last few years, trying to change how we generate the energy, how we transmit, and how we deliver, and how we use, how we consume the energy. So it's a fun area in power and energy area. And their mission is the same, but more focused on the zero carbon energy. So green, even though they're still trying to use electricity, they will try to generate some ways of energy. It's a different solution, but the same mission is still use energy, but with a zero carbon. So that's where we have lots of opportunities there. But the goal is the same, like to keep lights on. So here's a future grid. This is how we kind of imagine what's going to happen next 20 years and to 50 years. You see everything comes together, lots of control, lots of AI, lots of thinking into this, and lots of coordination. And the leading trends is that demand will increase, and with EVs, renewables, and the population and fuel transformation, you heard that, wind and solar, all the energy storage, more resilient, and a different storm and a pandemic, we all can keep lights on, and and also keep the rates low. So the electricity value will be seen beyond commodity. It's not just, okay, I switch, I make a turn on my switch, the electricity, that will be there, but you also have an option to make that as a commodity. You can trade your electricity from your solar rooftop, and you can make off the grid. You don't have to connect to the grid, and there's so many just options. The key to make that happen is the educated workforce, like you folks, that's trying to get into the industry, and then and take us to the next era and transform our industry. So here's where we are as far as North America, and EU is the same thing. We completed Grid Modernization 1 because North America, the power system started about 30, or about actually 70, 80 years ago, right after World War II. The whole massive power system construction started. Now we're at 2020, lots of substations and equipment very getting old. So that's where the DOE here, Department of Energy, starts grid modernization. So that phase 1 is almost complete. So we're in the phase 2, try to integrate distributed energy resources into it, like California, Massachusetts, a lot of the advanced states. They are close to the end of the stage 2, moving into stage 3, which is time of use. So California right now, the customers can see from their smart meter the different prices every hour, so they can make a conscious decision. Should I store these the energy when the electricity price is cheap? And once, because the Tesla Powerwall and others, they can purchase those, And then during the peak hours, I can use those the batteries and to save money. So all these options are there. So California and some of the other states, they're in the beginning of the stage 3. Are we ready to do it? Yeah, I like to say a few words about IEEE. You all know that we have about more than 400,000 members across the world. And for the PES, we have about more than 40,000 members. And here's why. This is the last 15 years, our membership has been growing like crazy. We are now the second largest society in IEEE. So I want to thank you for your work, your contribution made this possible. And last year we hit 40,000 milestone. And there are 7, like I say, if you want to be a scholar, professor, or you want to volunteer, like the technical area, and this is a great place you want to kind of step in and helping out and also be visible. And you can try your public speaking, try your leadership skills, everything. We have 20 technical committees. And I used to volunteer at the first one, Analytic Methods Power System, because this is where the reliability and all that. I did a lot of publication there. And you can volunteer to be a secretary, vice chair, and chair. And if you like the transformers, you see the transformer. If you like the smart buildings, like batteries, you can find. And the best part of the IEEE is that it's open to everyone. It's not like country representation like secret. It's individual based. So if you have interests, you can just join the community. So this is another great place to volunteer. If you want to see what's going on, if you want to see, okay, what's the most popular topic, you can always go to the resource center, because there you can find what are the top 10 downloaded the papers and topics, and there you can decide what would be your topic. And for the pandemic, we also have a resource page, like lots of other organizations. Tons of materials are free. You can listen and to see which one you like the most. And these are the 3 big initiatives we have. You probably heard of Smart Village, and we also have a Smart City and Smart Grid. Those have been, especially Smart Grid, has been going on for the last 10 years. With that, I want to thank you again for the opportunity. I want to invite you to be part of this transformation, and there's so much things we can do to help the human advance as far as technology goes, and also help the environment. Thank you. I appreciate again for your time.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Jessica, for a very wonderful session. So now the session is open for question and answers. So I request our participants to either post their question in the chat box window, or they can have direct interaction with them by just unmuting themselves. Yes, so now the session is open. Any questions?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be technical. If you have any question about the volunteer and how would you like to be part of, let's say, technical committee, or how would you like to get into smart village, smart cities, and yeah, please feel free. And besides Women in Power, we also have a young professional. Of course, we have student branch activities. The PS Day is one of the events we run each year. We also have a young professional group, another affinity group. Once you graduate, you can join that group, and they have lots of fun social activities, treasure hunt, and different games. And so that's another way to get together and get to know each other.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions from the participants?
Shall I?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Jessica, we heard in India when the lockdown started, there were rumors and there were worries whether grid will be able to handle this step down condition. Was there any similar observation, or is it technically correct to assume?
Yeah, the great question. So if you know the circuit, like especially AC, you know that it's balanced out, right? As long as we have the demand and supply balanced out, we can maintain the system at a constant frequency, say 50 hertz or 60 hertz. Right? So that's the reliability we need to maintain all the time because we cannot store. It's a huge, gigantic machine out there across the whole country. So let's say if it's locked down on a gradual basis within hours, and that's fine. We have a different reserves. We can reduce the generation from different resources from the units. And if it's sudden change like India, like within 30 seconds, like huge, everybody turns off their lights, or like here we have this the football game, like Super Bowl, during the 30-minute break session, everybody kind of turn off their TVs or they're doing something else, go to the bathroom, take a break. So we've seen those. The way they do it, the way industry they do it, they predict. They look at what happened last year during the Super Bowl game, or what happened last time when people turn off at the same time turn off their switch and see what's going on. So they timing that, and they have lots of preparation. Says okay at that time, and please start ramp down. So we have the same thing every day, at least here in North America, at 10 o'clock. The rates, the electricity rates will be different. One is peak rates and off-peak rates. Off-peak rates after 10 p.m. So you see lots of units are coming off because they know that there won't be much demand, and so they have a way to ramp them down. Here's the same. So they predict it. You use load forecast, and then they also let everybody know, be prepared to come down, and they have lots of ways to do it. One particular way is to have some of the fast units like hydros and others to come down and come off the grid right away. So that's how they keep the frequency, keep the demand and supply almost at every second, every minute constant.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So there's one question from one of our YouTube viewers. So he's asking that how do you see the energy situation in the developing world?
Energy situation, yeah, that's it's a very how to say a complex question. So energy usage and like the one of the slides I said, it touched so many areas, not just the technical. I used to work for a regulator. So besides keep lights on, you have to think and how much does it cost. So should I just use everything green, like Germany, and their electricity price 1 kWh is about 36 cents in U.S. cents. Here in North America, especially in U.S., we pay about 12 cents per kilowatt hour. And I think India is about 8 cents per kilowatt hour. So there are lots of subsidized energy. I think in China is about the same, 8 cents. And you would ask why Germany and Denmark, those places, pay 36 cents, not 12 cents like we do, right? Or India, why they pay cheaper, 8 cents. So those are the government and regulatory and politics, every factors, they come into the play to decide what's a reasonable rate. So what's the impact to developing country or developed country? It has regional needs, as regional. Let's say if you have lots of wind and solar, yeah, go for the renewable energy. It will be cheaper. But if you don't have that, you have to build lots of transmission line, and to get into your area to use the renewable, it's going to cost a lot. And that's what's going on in Germany. So they built lots of transmission line. They built these renewable infrastructure. So it costs them a lot. So it's their government call. It's their culture. It's their politics. And together, it's well, of course, technology, the energy storage is still very expensive. So some of the places are willing to give it a try. In North America, they're not, because they're afraid of the voters, and if your electricity price goes higher, and then probably voters will get the politician out of their office. So there are lots of factors. That's why I'm saying, if you like the bigger impact, the cultural politics, you want to be a lawyer. If you like the money and see how we can keep the rates low for electricity, you could be a great economist. If you like the technical invention or do a study, be a scholar, and you could be an engineer or a scientist or professor. So there are lots of areas could impact how we come down to look at our policy, to what we think the energy would be in different parts of the world. Another example is even in the same United States, Hawaii, their electricity cost is about the same as in Germany. It's about 36 cents per kilowatt hour. And in Canada, because they have lots of hydros, and so there's around 5 cents per kilowatt hour. So it even makes it California, they don't have lots of resources, no coal, no oil, no gas. So their price is very high. It's about 22 cents per kilowatt hour. In my state, it's 15 cents. If you go to Texas, about 6 cents. So it's very regional and localized decision. It depends the field resources. It depends on the policy. Do we want to build a transmission, and how much the ratepayer is willing to pay.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your views on that. So there's one more question from Ashish. So he's asking that what will be the effect of electrical vehicles on power sector with the advent of grid-connected fast and slow chargers in India? Could you share the effect in the other parts of the world on it?
Okay, let me see if I get this question. So if we have the energy storage, right, the fast discharging or charging, what would be the impact to the Indian? Is that the question?
Yes, in India as well as in the other parts of the world. Yes.
Right. Right. This is where we bet on. I was in Hawaii a couple of years ago. So they have more than 50% renewables. So because they're intermittent, so they have to use energy storage. And there's this one household engineer, and he was fascinated. He was determined to live off the grid. So I'm not gonna use Hawaii Electric because they don't know what they're doing. So he actually bought 3 sets. He had in his house. He had a solar rooftop. He also had a mini a turbine around his house, and he purchased the energy storage. And then he studied all the coordination, tried to make all the 3 sets work. And after 3 years of trial and try different things, try different controls, and he was actually making money and live on his own. He only paid $25 and to get connected to the grid, just in case that let's say no sun, no wind for a week, then he may not have anything in his storage. So it's very doable a situation. And some of the countries like Australia, they're experimenting with the utility scale. So all those could help us to test it out and to use. The thing that I wanted to let you know is that our industry is vast, is huge. So just having these energy storage would not right now at least would not make a dent, but you can make a difference in your in your house, in your, let's say, building, in one of the places that you have a control, you can do it, you can play with it. So every the things, the different types could help. He tried, this particular fellow tried different types, different manufacturers, and there's a cost difference, there's a technology difference, there's a speed, and he picked out one of the, after 3 years of trial, he picked out the one for his house. Now, like I said, he feels that cost wise and technology wise is about right, and he can make money off the grid as well. So it's very specific, based on your specific condition or situation, and you can decide how you use energy storage and make a profit out of it. And right now, think about it, 20 years ago, the cost of the energy battery is 1,000 times than our regular, let's say, coal or gas. 1,000 times the cost per kilowatt hour. Right now, it's about 100 times. It's about 100 times. So that's why you have not seen a massive, massive energy storage into the grid at industry level, at the commercial level. It's all at this demo project in this house or this substation, or it's all kind of experimenting, because unless we have the cost at close to, say, 10 times, then you won't see a massive deployment because it's too expensive. If we deploy all that, and think about it, you're paying 8 cents per kilowatt hour, you probably will pay 50 cents per kilowatt hour with all the energy storage. Are you willing to switch to energy storage today if you pay 50 cents per kilowatt hour? Probably majority of people will say no, right? So that's why the politicians and the whole the regulators, they're not ready to get into the energy storage business. They let the technology go on its own until the cost comes down. Then they can make that as a policy. They can force utility to say, hey, use 80% to store your energy during night. And they can make that call by then. But right now, if they make that call, they'll lose their elected position, and everybody will be crying at their door.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. So there is one last question from Sharan. So he's asking, what specific actions shall we all need to take to encourage more green adoption in the developing world so they can achieve faster development?
Yes, that's a great question. So at the IEEE level, we have the smart village. We also have a smart city, smart grid, right? So it's like, okay, if I want to be a green, I have to do it start it on my own for myself. So I would say, yeah, start on your own. And if you have a house, if you have a place, and you can influence that. When next time you are going to like this particular fellow in Hawaii, he spent 3 years to try different technologies, and you can just try different things and talk to the company. They're willing to give you a demo, and you can put your house or your apartment, try it out and see what impact. If it doesn't work, you can try different ones. He tried 3 years. He finally and he coded, and he put the connection on his phone, so he can now see his usage and price, and when to connect this, when to disconnect that, and eventually he can make a profit. I would say that's the action you wanted to take, particularly in your part of the world. And in the lab, you could do the same thing. You can do a demo, lots of demo project. It depends on your interest. And if you wanted to say make a bigger impact, not just your house, your place to live, and you can like I said, and to study economy or study politics, and once you get to the energy and policy level, you can use a stroke of your pen and then write a big an energy policy, and make a difference, make a huge difference. So it depends your interest. And another thing that you could do is volunteer, like you're doing, um, and Nukma is doing, is volunteer at IEEE or PES, and make difference and help and build a platform, and exchange ideas like what we're doing and see what everybody else is doing. So there's no like particular formula. And just find your interests. And if you don't have any other ideas, just join the PS and see what everybody else doing, and sign up for Dr. Sadhana's lab and see what he has, and try different things. And like I said, so many opportunities. You can see my career path. I started from design the generators and get into system operation, and then get to the energy standards and policy, and get into the energy regulation and policy side. These all we need a tremendous educated talents in this energy and power field. So there are lots of opportunities. It depends where you want to be. You want to be happy in any place. So find your happiness and just get into it. You'll see lots of fun.
Thank you, Dr. Jessica, for a wonderful answer to the questions. We thank you for your time and your wonderful talk. So I request Dr. Sardana for a vote of thanks before we end up today's session. Yes, sir. Over to you. Yes, Sardana, sir.
Yes. Yes. So, Dr. Jessica, thank you very much for leading the way through energy and power that you have already, and also giving us a way how how world's response to this pandemic is changing, and has already changed, and I believe also has become somewhat unpredictable because of this ongoing phenomena. And I hope this opportunity that you brought us, particularly to the students, will make them think as to how this whole subject matter of power and energy in engineering will change their thinking to their old domains, or some of them are already into this domain, and in fact everyone to respond in a better way. And also there are people who are finding alternatives, renewable energy and other means. So everyone has a chance to learn from you, and I hope they will improve their engineering to a better world. Thank you very much, and we look forward to some more interactions in near future. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. Thank you, Dr. Sadhana.
Yes. So, Jessica, ma'am, I request you to turn on your camera. We can have a group picture. And I request other participants also, if they can turn on their camera. So let's make this moment memorable.
Okay, let me give it a try. Let me stop the sharing.
Yes, ma'am, you can stop sharing your screen.
Okay, can you see me?
You're there. Yes, ma'am. Good to see you. Yes, so everyone, they can turn on their camera, participants. A last call. Okay, so smile. I am taking a picture.